when the pasture's growing, basically we're moving them every single morning to a new paddock. And then we kind of mimic this in the winter with rolling out the hay in a different spot every day, if that makes sense.
So when you say growing season, how long is that and when exactly?
It's actually like pretty long for us, and especially because of the ways that we manage the pasture, and it just depends on the rain as well. But we start grazing normally in mid-April. So in mid-April, we're on like the daily rotations. And that can go through, I mean, in past years, it's gone through like December. And sometimes we've even gotten grazing days then later, like if all the snow melts in like February or whatever, and we have grass stockpiled, so that grew higher and then sort of just, you know, fell down and wasn't cut for hay, we can graze that too. So we do kind of have an extended growing season, but we do have kind of harsh winters here as well. So it's unpredictable with how much snow we're gonna get, because the sheep actually will graze through the snow, but the cows are like,
nah.
Yeah, they're like kind of lazy about it. They just like want the hay, they want the ease. Yeah, so then we have everything's mobile, and I love that about it, because I can kind of change. Our herd size is always growing and changing, and then like the grass height is always growing and, you know, changing. And so by keeping everything mobile, I have no permanent structures that I have to work around, which makes it really great for constantly changing the system based on the needs of the animals or the ecosystem. But yeah, and I can show you, like, I'll let her. My parents help me a lot with the farm. It's not their primary occupation. They have an excavating business, which is also very like helpful for the farm, because he helps me develop the water. So it's like a spring that runs into a holding tank and then overflows.
Very cool.
But we've had pretty much like endless water supply through that, so it's been awesome. So we fill the totes and bring the water out to them. So she's just placing a tote right now. And then you guys will probably want to come in when we are getting connected and everything.
It rains here a lot year round?
Yeah, last year we had a drought year, but this year we've had a lot of rain. So actually where we've rotated the cows, we've actually made that we're on the second loop of the same rotation, which is only taking up maybe a third of our grazing acres, which is really cool that we were able to consolidate them to only 1/3 this season. And then we have all of the front pasture that we've reserved for hay, because we do need a lot of winter feed just because of how big our herd is, and you don't know how long you're gonna need to feed hay or not. So I like to have a lot. Basically, normally it doesn't take this long, but because we had like a lot of wind and those got detached, and then there's another thing that got detached. So I told him, I was like, I have to do like a couple repairs. I hope you guys don't care that I need to like work a little bit while you're here. Yeah, we have like very low staffing. It's like me, and then Sarah works 3 days a week. And our full-time employee, Becca, just got injured. So we're like very like, we have a lot going on with like a few people, so I'm like, I have to get as much in while she's here. Oh, she's turning it off. Okay. Yeah, so everything that is now our pasture was, I just want to let Rocky in so he's not barking. You can come in. He only go under the fence, yeah. So since everything that's pasture used to be corn and soy. So that was it. It was conventionally farmed before we started farming it in 2020. So it was all corn and soy. And of course, whenever there's crops, you can't have trees, you know, because it would be hard to harvest the crops. So anyway, our pasture is so, you know, there's no trees or any shade for the animals. So we kind of came up with this idea of the shade cloth that spans between our two structures. So that's the shade, the original shade structure when we only had like 8 cows. That was enough shade for that. And then this is our egg mobile. So that's where all the egg layers lay their eggs and sleep at night. So then we just connect it with bungees and this like little pulley system, and yeah, take it down and put it up every day for them.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I feel like this is like not very expensive. We do go through a few of them a year because the cows like to like get under it and then get stuck in it, put their head through it, and then they like pretend they're little like ghost cows and like, but then they're like spooked because they're like stuck in the shit. Yeah, so we go through a few, but it's a great option for giving shade to the animals if you know, a farmer doesn't have trees or access to that. It definitely helps a lot with like the water intake and just keeping them cool.
Yeah. Does this help against any predators at all? Well, I guess what are the predators for the lamb and I guess the chickens here?
So for chickens, we have a lot more predation with our broilers than the egg layers. And I think that's kind of why we have the sheep and cows together, because the cows are so big that they really deter like a lot of predators.
Especially because it's just straight open.
Yeah. So like we don't really have predator issues with the lambs at all, even like the newborn lambs. Hawks and things, owls will, you know, get chickens sometimes. But I think between like the structures and the cows, the layers are pretty well protected. We've definitely had situations where like a fox or something did like a massacre, a big attack, but for the most part, it's pretty okay. It's kind of just part of the, it's kind of part of like raising animals on pasture. Like you try to protect them as much as possible, but inevitably there's gonna be predator loss. But like the other alternative is like no predator loss, but they're completely enclosed.
Yep.
So I would rather, I think it's about like figuring out the balance between those two things.